In the 2007 to 2011 BBC sci-fi series Primeval, animals from the ancient past and distant future entered the present to wreak havoc via portals through time and space called anomalies. One of the most memorable of these were the mer creatures, semi-aquatic primates from the future. 2 years prior, in 2005, Peter Jackson introduced the most dangerous and terrifying version of Skull Island to date, teeming with beasts with one foot stuck in the past and the present. Could these deadly aquatic simians survive on an island that houses one of the most competitive ecosystems put to screen? Let us find out. In the beginning, an anomaly will appear releasing the mer upon Skull Island, much like they did in London. The mer creatures will quickly start to explore their new territory. Luckily, the beaches, jagged rocks and sunken ruins would be already home to all kinds of fish and crustaceans for them to prey on. However, as demonstrated in their debut episode, they were more than able to hunt larger prey, possibly due to the low resources in their native time period. So it is not a stretch to imagine that they would broaden their diet to include the local fur seals and the saltwater-dwelling amphibian Lumosaurus. The mer have also been shown to be willing to prey on humans, which means the natives who live on the very edges of the island would inevitably be on the menu. These humans have developed specialized methods of obtaining food, such as pole vaulting across rocks and cliffs to gather eggs from seabird nests. Unfortunately, these trips would now be even more dangerous as the mer could easily attack them mid-jump by ramming into their poles and letting them drop to their deaths for an easy meal. This would eventually go the other way, since the mer would have driven out most of the seals at this point. They would now be on the menu themselves. Thanks to their ingenuity, the natives would craft specialized tools and strategies to combat and hunt the mer, but they would not be the only predator the mer would have to contend with. These would include the fearsome Nefundosaurus. These archosaurs are primarily beachside scavengers, but will catch live prey if the opportunity presented itself, which would now include the mer. Unfortunately for the archosaur, the mer have an added defense in the form of the mer queen, whose sheer bulk would be more than enough to fend off a Nefundosaurus. But there is one beach-roaming predator that would try to take on the mer queen head-on. The Tartarosaurus was the biggest coastal carnivore of Skull Island. This reptile has thick skin like a scaled rhino, a bite strong enough to crack bone, and is equipped with an oversized claw on each forelimb. Fortunately for this reptile, the mer would be more than a suitable alternative to its usual prey of fur seals. Unfortunately, it would have to get past the mer queen. As to which one would win the encounter, the odds would likely be more in favour of the mer queen due to her sheer bulk. The best comparison would be a polar bear trying to bring down a fully grown walrus. Overall, with the lack of prominent predators in the ocean, both the cliffs, ruins and caves that would provide space for food storage and the queen's strength, the mer looks set to become the most prominent creatures on the beaches. But what if another anomaly opened in a different place? Specifically in the swamps and waterways near the centre of Skull Island's lowlands and jungles. One thing the mer will quickly learn is that competition within these waters is much more intense than on the beach. These freshwaters are inhabited by more similarly sized predators like the Udosaurus, Casas, Inox, Duruscus, and Hydrocymex. While the mer could eventually learn to deal with them, there is one predator that even the queen might struggle with. The Pteranodon is a massive fish that patrols the murky freshwaters of Skull Island, with the males reaching sizes equal to great white sharks, but dwarfed by the females who reach lengths equivalent to whales. Pteranodon eat their prey by swallowing them whole, making the average mer a perfect meal for the male Pteranodon and an easy snack for the massive female. As for the mer queen, her bulk would be likely too much for the female Pteranodon to swallow, not that it would stop the fish from trying. One more danger of living in Skull Island's freshwaters are the numerous parasites that make their home here. Luckily, the Mer Queen would only have to lie down on the shores and let the smaller Mer pick her body clean. Unfortunately, since the Mer, much like pinnipeds, must rest on shores, they leave themselves exposed to even more predators than on the beach, such as the Avarasaurus, Carver, Dinocanosaurus, Phytodon, Lysiosaurus, and terror birds like the Brutornis and Zoropteryx. All would be more than capable of killing an average-sized mer creature, but could still be fought off by the queen. Some, however, could certainly take her on, such as the Venatosaurus. While these nimble dromaeosaurs are outclassed in terms of weight, they are specialized in hunting massive prey, especially the Brontosaurus, which dwarf the mer queen in length, height, and weight. This means a whole pack of them would no doubt try to bring her down and possibly succeed. While the mer queen might fight and survive a Venatosaur pack, she would not stand a chance against the biggest apex predator on all of Skull Island, the Vastatosaurus rex. These descendants of the Tyrannosaurus are superbly adapted for traversing this island thanks to their specialized build, surprising agility, and splayed feet, meaning they would only have to deliver one precise bite to the mer queen's head. The only way she would even stand a chance is if she was fighting a gang of juveniles. In conclusion, while the mer could carve out a niche within Skull Island's freshwaters, the higher concentration of predators on both the land and water would significantly stifle their chances of spreading as far as their beach-dwelling cousins. In fact, they might all die within a few months before they could even start to form a proper population. As for the other giant primates that call this island home, it would be unlikely that they would encounter one another, considering that the Megaprimatus live in the mountains, far away from the swamps and waterways. However, if a full-grown one would try to fight the new mer queen, it would be the simian equivalent of pitting a Tyrannosaurus against a Spinosaurus. Since on land, the Megaprimatus would win easily, while in the water, the mer queen would have more of an edge. But it would still not be an easy fight, since the mer creature's hands, while flexible enough to hold onto humans and drag them through the water, cannot perform as precise grips as the Megaprimatus, who lack the webbed membrane between their fingers. As for how the presence of these creatures would impact the events of the movie, the most that would happen is that some of them might try to attack the crew as they are rowing towards the island, perhaps killing a few of them early on, but they could also just be fended off easily with gunfire. One other possibility is that since the mer, and especially the queen, do bear a passing resemblance to Kong, the natives might have also started to offer them sacrifices. Another more intriguing possibility could be that Kong might have formed a symbiotic relationship with the mer creatures in the swamp. He was a lonely creature after all, which was likely one of the main reasons he accepted the human sacrifices offered to him. One thing that might hold this relationship back would be the mer queen's temperament. But if not, then Skull Island's lone king might just have been a little less lonely.